MMA Rants and Raves, Fedor Emelianenko versus Fabio Moldanado, an in-depth review. Guys, let's talk about this fight. You know something, I've watched Moldanado in the UFC, and one thing I can say about him is that he's a very tough guy. I remember his fight with Glover Teixeira, who is a brutal puncher. I mean, this guy has sick power. And he started to brawl with Moldanado, and he got rocked. And that's a guy with a granite chin. Moldanado hit him with something, and he got rocked. And I remember he resorted to his ground game. To just stand in the pocket and swing with this guy is not a wise thing to do. And if you watch what Fedor was doing, he wasn't patient. He started to come forward and throw haymakers at him. And he was covering up. A lot of the shots were being blocked. Some of them were coming through, but you're talking about a guy who's very tough to get out of there. I mean, he has a very good chin. And of course, he's a good boxer. And that's what he likes to do. He likes to brawl. And I just don't think Fedor was patient. He was too aggressive. And it's very simple. I mean, when I was watching it, I'm like, why is he doing that? Why is he attacking so aggressively? Because when you saw Fedor in his last few fights before he left MMA, this is before he came back, he was much more patient and methodical. He wasn't coming in there guns a-blazing, trying to throw haymakers that are sloppy and wild like he did against Bigfoot Silva. He was more patient. And the knockouts came when he was moving better, using his speed, letting the guy come to him, not storm at the guy and getting countered. And that's exactly what happened. He got countered, and it was a brutal counter. I mean, he was hurt so bad, he looked like a drunken sailor. He was on rubbery legs, dancing around, like moving around. I mean, it looked like he could barely stay standing. But he's got such heart. He's such a tough guy, he just kept going. And that's what really was remarkable about the fight, is that he's got such heart. I mean, he looked like he was badly hurt. But he was able to come back. That was one of the takeaways that I got from the fight. The other takeaway is that he wasn't patient. He tried to get him out of there, and you can't do that against a guy like him. I mean, he is a tough guy. Watch his fights in the UFC, you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, he's fought some tough guys, and he gave them a hard time. And Fedor was very aggressive. I mean, even when Moldanado fought Miocic, it was Moldanado that was aggressive, and that's what cost him the fight. He didn't have Miocic coming to him and countering with something. So it was the opposite with Fedor, because you know how hard Fedor hits. There's no question about it. The problem was a lot of those punches weren't going through. And you saw different aspects to Fedor's game. You saw the clinch, you saw some Muay Thai. It was interesting. He was mixing it up more, but he should have done that earlier. You know, rather than just try to throw wild haymakers. And where was the grappling? You know, Maldonado's weakness is the grappling. Because when guys fought him, if you notice, the success that they had was using their grappling as well. And he wasn't doing that. You know, I don't even think he really tried to get a takedown in this fight. Against a guy who just loves to stand and trade, this is what he does. He's a very good boxer, this Moldanado. So, I mean, it's hard to gauge the fight. I think Fedor made a mistake here. I think he shouldn't have been so aggressive. I think he should have used his movement better. As you saw later in the fight, he was doing much better by making himself more unpredictable. Have Moldanado come to him. And I don't understand what the announcer kept on saying, that Moldanado stopped fighting. It wasn't about him not fighting. It was about him being tired. I mean, it was a rough fight for him. He was taking a lot of shots, and it was a tough fight. So I think he got possibly tired, and if you watch his fight against Quinton Jackson, you saw something similar. You saw him slowing down later. I mean, it's possible that he just got tired. So now there's still talk about him coming to the UFC. I personally don't think, and I've been saying this a long time, I said this years ago, I don't think Fedor is coming to the UFC, regardless of what happened in this fight. If he would have came in there and got a quick finish and put Moldanado away, I still don't think he would come to the UFC. I just don't think it's going to happen. But Fedor still proved that he can still fight. mean, that's one thing that I saw in this fight. I just thought he made a mistake. And the mistake he made in this fight was the ones that he made in his past few fights before he left MMA. He was impatient. You saw it against Henderson, against Bigfoot. He was just too aggressive. He shouldn't have to be, because one thing Fedor has is speed. He's a speedy, small heavyweight. He has to use his movement, and he's got to use more of his grappling, and he's got really good cardio. But to go in there and just brawl with a brawler is not a good strategy. You saw him change strategies. He was able to sit down in between rounds, assess what he did, change things up, and as you saw, he did better later on. So if he's more patient, uses his movement, uses more grappling, he should do better. It was a good fight, and I would like to know what you thought about the fight. I would like to know what you think about Fedor's comeback and the talk with the UFC. Please leave your comments. Please subscribe. Please like up this video. And thank you for tuning in.